I think esports at the moment is very much so becoming a real sport. Definitely in the past it wasn't something that would be considered a real sport. The more traditional sports like football, perhaps tennis, would be more considered as more of a real sport. But as to more now the present day and looking to more at the future, there's a lot more things now where esports is being considered more of a serious thing. There's a lot of people who watch it online and really consider it as something that they really are passionate about.
I think sport to me has always been defined as something physical, so I don't actually think it's a legit sport. That's why we coined the term esports.
The idea of perhaps real sports is that you have all of these big teams or perhaps big players who all want to be the best, and there's that really big competitive edge. So if that is what you're looking for and perhaps a real sport, then esports has that real side to it as well, because it's heavily competitive. The money that you can earn from these tournaments can be really ridiculous. I know with Dota, there's the prize pool, and that can be perhaps, I think it's around 10 million, I think, for one of the biggest tournaments that they have. And other tournaments such as League of Legends as well, where they have regular salaries as well, where they're hitting six-figure salaries, is ridiculous. So in that sense, I would say esports is a real sport. Esports in the Olympics. Well, I know they've recently tried to do their own thing on the side. I feel like it's something that's going to progressively pick up a bit more, having esports in the Olympics, but I feel like it's going to be its own little separate thing. So how esports is considered an electronic sport, it's perhaps going to be an e-Olympics rather than just Olympics on its own. So I feel if it is to be its own Olympic thing, then perhaps it would be perhaps an e-Olympics. I don't necessarily see it being at the same event as, say, your traditional sports like tennis and football were the ones I mentioned earlier, cycling as well. I don't see these sorts of sports kind of meshing within the same tournament or in the same Olympics as other esports. So in that sense, I feel like it's going to have its own little separate thing. But perhaps looking towards in the future, maybe it may be a case that it might be the norm to have something that esports is merged into its own Olympics and with other Olympics as well. Whenever I think of certain esports, a lot of the motions, hand-eye coordination with, say, the keyboard and then the mouse as well. What I straight away think of with regards to sport is other sports, perhaps say like snooker, where you have to have these fine movements of which you need to do certain actions. So in a sense, it's very reactive, and you have to have a lot of concentration involved with it as well. I feel being harder to get to the top level can be really tedious and difficult. I feel to get into esports, you commonly see people get into esports at a younger age. You normally see people hit their peak at a younger age, whereas in, say, sports, they usually hit their peaks, say, 26 or 27, when they've had that time to develop. Whereas in esports, you have a little bit of a shorter time frame to, be able to be the best, and So I feel it can be harder in the sense of getting to that point at a young age, whereas more traditional sports, I feel like you have a lot more time, because as you grow older, your reaction skills and other coordination skills start to dip as you get a little bit older, which is something, as we can clearly see with games such as Fortnite, the young generation of like teenagers and even younger, they're absolutely destroying adults at the game. So I feel in that sense, to harder to harness those skills and things like that with that such short time frame that you have, then I would consider that esports is hard.